Welcome to the Shit That They Don't Tell You podcast. My name is Steve Greene, and I'm hosting today with my lovely wife, Nikki Limo Greene.
I'm also hosting today. I'm Nikki Limo Greene, and today we have a very special topic.
It's extremely special. This is a special edition episode.
Can I just say I'm really nervous.
I know you're nervous, which is
so nervous.
Odd and funny.
I might start crying even before the thing.
Good Lord.
I'm so emotional.
Nikki will
and
actually
nervous.
cry during this, just so everybody knows.
Well, it's a subject very near and dear to my heart, and I just don't want to fuck it up. You know, I don't want to say something that I gets misconstrued as something else, or I leave stuff out that I should have said.
This is not a bit, by the way.
So, just so you know, if there's any other stands out there, this might be just a part one, because I might leave a bunch of stuff out and then I'll be like, oh shit, I should have said that. You know? I don't know.
I hope we become the Eminem podcasting network.
Dude, me too.
Yeah,
Want to?
Great. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so the subject today, since Steve did a whole episode about Nicolas Cage,
a classic.
I'm going to do
classic.
an episode about Eminem and why he is my idol and the number one most influential person in my life since age 12. And a lot of people get surprised when they hear that.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because I feel like it's very obvious why he's my idol. We're clearly the same person.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah, your brand's aligned.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't get it. I'm confused.
True.
So I want to talk about him today. Some shit you don't know about Marshall Bruce Mathers III, and why he's my idol and how he helped shape me into the person I am today. And
not a bit, guys. Get ready.
Here's the thing: is I almost feel like I have too much Eminem information that I might end up either exploding or not.
I want both
I might
to happen.
choke, actually, like B Rabbit in 8 Mile, and I might just have too many lyrical skills that just nothing comes out.
I now know that reference because I just saw 8 Mile for the first time.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah.
I can't believe it took 6 years of us being together for you to actually see that movie.
Yeah. Took me having kidney stones and sitting around.
Insane. I can't believe I agreed to marry you without you watching it first, but you're welcome.
This is not a bit, by the way. She really is this intense.
No, yeah. Well, I have 20 years of fandom under my belt, and I feel like, there isn't any other artist at all that I've ever been a fan of for 20 years.
Sure.
And followed their career along that whole time.
What about Will Smith?
Look, I like Will Smith.
I like Will Smith.
But Will Smith has got a cuss in his raps to sell records. Well, I do. So fuck him and fuck you too.
I love that bit. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, okay. So feel free to moderate every so often if you want. I know you hear about me talk about Eminem a lot, so you probably know what questions to ask.
Almost as much as I talk about the movie Flight, which is a great film.
Almost, but I don't think anyone could talk about it I don't think anyone could talk about any subject as much as you talk about the movie Flight. But buckle in. Here we go. Okay. So first, I'm going to give a little bit of bio before I jump into how we're connected. So Eminem was a white dude. Well, he still is a white dude, still currently white. Not by choice, I think.
This is going well so far.
Okay, born in Missouri. He never knew his dad, and his mom could hardly ever hold down a job, so they moved a lot. So he was always the new kid whenever he went to school. He was constantly in new schools, so he was bullied a lot. There's actually, well, it is relatable, yes. There's actually a song called Brain Damage. He was bullied to the point, with physical abuse, where they beat him up. There's actually a song called Brain Damage on the Slim Shady LP where he talks about being beaten into submission by this guy, D'Angelo Bailey, who later tried to sue him because of that song. But the Michigan was like, nah, and they threw his case out. They're like,
hey, he had to shoot a shot, though. He had to shoot a shot. He's like, this guy's so rich. Will he? Maybe he'll settle?
Yeah, the Michigan was like, nah.
Damn.
Because first of all, he did do that. There's records.
Yeah.
And then secondly, how much did it ruin your reputation that you got called out?
What was the guy's name again?
D'Angelo Bailey.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it would be great if his name is Grim Reaper or something, and he's like, this really harmed my reputation, like his rap name. Okay.
No. But he also, Eminem, failed 9th grade 3 times before dropping out. So everyone thought that he was just a failure. He wasn't going to go anywhere.
Right.
All that stuff. He was always good at English, though. He used to study the dictionary.
Well, he had 3 chances to learn it, so it's good.
To learn English?
Yeah, wow.
I think he was a native speaker. But he was, he was really good at English. Okay, what else? So Kim, you might have heard of her.
I know the name.
She is his baby mama.
Yep.
There's a lot of songs
Ex-wife,
about
baby
her.
mama.
Okay,
Ex-wife twice, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He started dating her when she was super young, and I'm sorry if I fuck up the age she was, but I think she was around 13 when they started dating. It was super young. Her family didn't like him, so they were always like on again, off again. They were constantly fighting. They still are constantly fighting.
Oh yeah.
He actually got shot one time when he tried to enter her home. Why do I know this? I don't know. It takes up space in my brain, but I know this information.
Shot him?
I don't know. I don't know who shot him, but he got shot. Because that was the kind
Like someone randomly driving by shot him, or
yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's that. So he eventually got Kim pregnant later when they were adults, and Kim gave birth to his daughter Haley Jade, who we're all very familiar with. Is it creepy that I follow her on Instagram?
Yes.
Right now? She's like 23 though, and she posts really cute outfits. I don't care. Don't at me. Anyway, the point is he became much more driven to success when they had her. Like, before he was kind of like, fuck, I'm a dropout, and like I have this like
He couldn't fail anymore. He got a baby now.
job. Yeah, his job sucked. But they were very poor in Haley's early years. In the song Mockingbird, he actually talks about this, one of the many songs that have made me cry. He talks about how their home used to get constantly broken into and robbed, and Kim was saving money for her in a jar for Haley to go to college. Almost had $1,000 until someone broke in and stole it, and it hurt so bad it broke her mama's heart. That was part of the song. Okay, that part made me cry a lot. But the part that made me cry the most was when he talks about not being able to afford Christmas presents because the money that he got from his job was to put food on the table. So then Kim would wrap presents for her and say they were from him, and he felt like such a fucking bum because of that. He ended up like crying all night. That made me cry.
That's a little bit of a bitch move to cry all night.
I feel like you would do the same thing.
Okay. All right, interesting.
Maybe that's why. Maybe you remind me of him. Maybe that's why.
Oh, I see.
I don't know.
I'm very similar to Eminem.
You are. You have this tough exterior, but really, you're big old softy inside.
Don't call me out.
Big, huge softy.
Nah. Only for you.
Yeah. Well, same with him. Only for his family and like his friends that he's like super loyal to.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I admire that. I like that.
Moving on. So when Haley is like 2 years old, Dr. Dre discovers Eminem after he wins second place at Rap Olympics. He's like, who's this dude? And so he agreed to listen to Eminem's mixtape.
Rap Olympics?
Yeah.
It sounds so nerdy.
That's okay. More nerdy than the Del Close improv.
No, that's of course
hour.
nerdy, but I'm talking about rap right now.
Okay,
Just saying Rap Olympics sounds great. It's funny. It's like Rap Academy. It's funny.
Yeah. Every hobby, everything has a competition.
No, of course it does.
Yeah.
It's just funny.
Basically like a rap battling competition.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rap Olympics.
I love it.
Yeah. So he won second place, didn't win first place.
Right.
But he was the one. I don't even know who won
That
first
guy's
place.
name?
At one
Dr.
point,
Dre. That would be sick, wouldn't it?
No. Dr. Dre was much older. But at one point, I did know all of this information, like who won first place and where they are now and all of that stuff.
I think we're all okay now.
But yeah. I don't remember them now. Yeah. Point is, like, that. I think that's one of the few times where second place could blow up an entire career.
Oh, for sure.
So yeah, Dr. Dre found him at Rap Olympics and then agreed to listen to his demo tape and then was like, damn, this guy is dope, and immediately signed him to Interscope Records. 2 years later, they dropped the Slim Shady LP, which was super hype because of Dr. Dre. And so it got like a lot of traction in mainstream. And the fact that Eminem is a white guy rapper, the album was just an overnight success.
So can I just ask, you're talking about the hype, right?
Yeah.
So Dr. Dre was going around telling everybody how dope it was going to be? Okay, I see.
Well, because Slim Shady EP came out. Infinite was his first album. That actually only sold 2,000 records total.
Yeah.
Because people were always like, I always just think you're a fake fan if you're like, oh, I've been a fan since Infinite. Dude, only 2,000 people even knew about this fucking album when it dropped.
I've heard some of it from thanks to you. I don't think it was good.
I mean, I downloaded it immediately when I found out about it. Sure, like I could say I was a fan since Slim Shady LP, and then I went back and found all of his earlier albums.
Yeah.
But to say you're a fan since Infinite is bullshit. Unless you were in Detroit at that time.
Yeah.
It was only in local record shops. Like, shut up. People are so stupid.
Only
anyway,
2,000 people get to claim that.
This is the type of stuff that I would argue with people on.
I
the
love
Eminem.
fan hierarchy shit. I love it. I love it.
Like, fuck you. You weren't a fan since
It's
Infinite.
like,
Shut
I'm a Star Wars
fuck
fan,
up.
and it's like, oh yeah, because you got in during the prequels. You're not a real fan. It's like, what the fuck? Oh, I love all of it.
I just think, like, what? You can just say you're a fan. You don't have to be like, I'm the greatest fan, been the longest fan. Like, yeah, right. I don't believe you.
Yeah.
Anyway, So the Slim Shady LP, overnight success. It's sold currently, I think, like over 3 million, probably way more than 3 million records now, but it sells like 3 million records. TRL explodes with My Name Is and Guilty Conscience. This is obviously when suburban beach town teenager me first heard of him.
Yeah.
Because before then was not really into the hip hop scene.
Right.
As like neither were.
No, you were into punk at that time. Yeah.
So I was into punk. I was into all forms of rock, basically alternative rock,
butt rock,
classic rock,
wet rock.
Not butt rock, not so much, but metal. I liked metal.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely all rock, and so was the entire town that I lived in. I lived in Santa Barbara, and it was just a beach town. You know, like people weren't like bumping hip hop back then.
Yeah.
But Eminem like really did bridge that gap, for better or for worse.
He Elvis-ized
like
the
people,
whole thing.
Yeah, people hate him for that, and also hip hop wouldn't have nearly as much fans, I think, if it weren't for that, or the demographic wouldn't be as spread out. As it became. So now I will get into how he started to become my biggest influence and stayed that way even after the whole teenage fangirl crush thing. Like even in my adult life now, he's still.
Where you claim to not have a crush on him.
I don't.
But I find that very suspect, and I would like you to take a lie detector test.
I love him, but I don't have a crush on him in that fangirl way where like I want to fuck him.
Okay.
I actually think
a lie detector test would help.
To be honest, I think it would destroy everything that I've built around him. You know how like after you sleep with somebody, like sometimes if you build it up too much and then like you sleep with them and then you're like, oh, I actually don't really like them that much.
Yeah, sure.
I'm scared that will happen with Eminem.
I see.
So I will not sleep with him just because of that.
Thank you.
Just for that
I
fact.
think that's really nice of you.
To preserve my fandom.
Yeah. Cool.
So you're welcome.
I don't think you're his type.
Huh?
I don't think you're his type.
Oh, fuck you. I am his type.
Nah, I
I'm
don't think so.
totally his type.
Yeah, no.
He'd be so swooned by me. He'd
Nah,
watch
dude.
like 2 videos and he'd be like, where has this girl been all my
Totally.
life? I can't wait for that day. I'm just kidding. I would break down and I'm pretty sure I'd have a mental breakdown if I ever met him. I'm scared to
I
meet
know.
him.
I was in the room while you were in the room with him, and it was intense.
Sometimes I literally think about, like, what if I went into, like, say, the podcast studio today, and he was walking by, like, how would I actually react? And I just start crying.
I know you would.
Like, right there I cry thinking about if that were to happen.
But the question is, I know, and you would Beatles cry, I think. You would scream and cry.
Yeah, no, not scream. I don't think I would have it in me to scream. I think I'd be speechless.
Here's the thing. I like to think that, so in some avenues, you know me better than I know me. And I think in this case, your affection for Eminem and outwardly, I think I have a lot of familiarity with this.
Yeah, but
and
not
you're not
screaming.
as self-aware about it?
I'm not screaming, though.
Okay, but maybe not screaming.
At a concert, I would scream.
Yeah.
Because that's appropriate.
Okay.
For a venue, like someone finishes a song, you're like, woo!
I think you'd get caught off guard, though. I think you'd honestly, it would be like you saw a cockroach.
It would take my breath away.
Yeah.
No, not a cockroach. I scream at a cockroach.
I know
for
that.
Sure. Okay, anyway, let me get back into this.
Please.
So, when I was 12, I first heard the song My Name Is on the radio, and I didn't like it. My first comment I ever said about Eminem was, and I quote, "That guy needs to figure out what his fucking name is and shut up." Because before Eminem, I listened pretty much solely to rock, and hearing, "Hi, my name is,"
Chicky.
yeah,
Slim
on
Shady.
a rock station. They were playing this on the rock stations.
Yeah.
I was getting so annoyed.
I honestly thought that his name was Chicky Slim Shady because he always said that in the song.
I didn't know
For
what
like a year, I thought that.
didn't know what he was saying. I thought he said Slam Sandy.
Oh, wow.
I thought he was like tick Slam Sandy.
That's
I
funny.
did not know what he was saying.
Wow.
So I didn't really pay attention to it other than I thought that song was annoying until I was paired with this one guy in my tech class who was like obsessed with Eminem. He even like dyed his hair bleached blonde and like all that stuff. Like he was a Eminem
Jesus.
wannabe. Yeah. He was kind of fat though.
Did he start hitting women too?
What?
I'm kidding. He dyed his hair and started beating
hit
up
women.
random ladies.
Dude, there was one time
I'm just kidding.
where Eminem hit Kim
Yeah.
and he regrets it.
Well, at least he regrets it. That's
Okay.
good. Okay, continue.
But she hit first.
Oh, okay. Nice.
People are going to hate me now.
Yeah, they will.
Anyway, so where was I? Okay, yeah, so I hated My Name Is, and then this guy who was obsessed with Eminem got me to listen to another song called, oh wait, sorry, let me go back a second.
Yeah.
Okay, so I hated it when I first heard it. I always listened to rock. But I like it. I did like it when people would sing fast in songs. Like, remember that Bare Naked Lady track?
Course, dude. Not
Chickadee
even
China, the Chinese chicken.
Yeah.
Have a drumstick and
Dude,
a red
not even
chicken.
just that. What about the what is it? Chicken cherry cola, dude.
Oh yeah,
I don't
that
even
one
need
too.
to see anybody just close my eyes and I'm taking it. You know what I mean? Like that. That shit was great.
I love when people sing fast in songs, and I love like memorizing every word and like singing along with it. I fucking loved that shit. So I didn't think My Name is like that. It wasn't very fast, so I wasn't super into it. I was super into when I heard Forgot About Dre.
Yeah.
And the like, with
That's
the windows up, when the temp goes up to the mid 80s, you know, call it man lady.
Yeah.
Anyway, I liked that song. But yeah, so I didn't really like rap until this guy made me listen to the song. I forget what it's called, but it goes, I never meant to give you mushrooms, girl. I never meant to bring you to my world.
Yeah.
And I loved that beat, and I thought that was so cool. And I didn't know it was the same guy that sang that song. And then after I heard that song, that's when I heard Forgot About Dre, and I heard Guilty Conscience. And
what made you like him?
Started listening. Well, number one, the beat. Like I liked the songs. I liked the beat. I liked that he was rapping about edgier things that I wasn't familiar with yet. I really had this fascination with mushrooms. Okay, because the Brady
drug.
Okay, yeah. So the Brady Bunch movie came out. Do you remember this Brady Bunch movie? It might have been even the sequel, the Brady Bunch 2.
Mm-hmm.
But the dad comes back from the real dad.
Yeah.
Or the ex-husband, he comes back into the kids' lives. He ends up not really being the dad, spoilers, but he has a bag of mushrooms, and the mom, or Alice, thinks that it's real mushrooms, and she puts it into the spaghetti, and then nobody knows, and then he starts tripping balls. And he starts seeing cartoons and stuff. So I thought, like, mushrooms make you see cartoons. So I was 12, right? And I was like really into that there's a drug out there that makes you see cartoons, and I really wanted to try mushrooms for a long time until I read about all the negative side effects. But never have I ever tried mushrooms. But this song was about giving this girl mushrooms, and I liked the beat, and it was the first time ever that I liked that genre of music. Every other song I'd ever heard in that genre, I didn't really like, and it's because I didn't really relate to it. Not that I could relate to taking mushrooms, but he tells a story.
Okay.
Right? There's this whole story of, like, he goes to a party, he gives this girl mushrooms, she starts tripping out, she starts pulling her hair out, she never comes back. And then I think she dies.
Eminem's
I think
giving
she
the story?
does. Yeah, it's in the song.
Okay, got it.
And his songs are more like story form. So Guilty Conscience are 3 vignettes of stories, where three verses where 3 separate things happen, and there's a good side and a bad side. And Dr. Dre and him do this duet where Dr. Dre is playing the good side, like the good conscience, and Slim Shady plays like the bad conscience and tries to get the person to do that. So
you found the beats and the composition to be dope.
Yeah, and then the story.
Yeah, and the story. But what about the man made you...
Okay, so then I'm getting to that part. Okay. So then I saw him in a music video and I was like, swoon.
Okay,
blonde
so
bad
just
boys,
good looking.
Not just good looking, but specifically blonde bad boys were my thing. Clearly. That's why I married you.
Yeah, clearly.
That was my type, though. Like, before it had been skater guys, blonde skater guy bad boys. But then, finding out that the guy that sang that song, because he was getting blasted all over MTV at this point, who was also really cute. Then
what the fuck is this?
It made me.
I was sold on like this. He personally moved and inspired you. This is just I have a crush.
No, absolutely. It was just I have a crush thing when I was 12. Okay, so by the way, I never want to have a teenager. Ew.
No, same.
So basically, I'm exactly the type of kid that Eminem raps about in White America later on in the Eminem Show album when he describes how he became this phenomenon. So this is a quote from it. Okay. See, the problem is I speak to suburban kids who otherwise would have never knew these words exist, whose moms probably would have never gave 2 squirts of piss till I created so much motherfucking turbulence. Straight out the tube, straight into your living rooms I came, and kids flipped when they knew I was produced by Dre. So I wouldn't have known about... Oh, that's all it took, and they were instantly hooked right in, and they connected with me too because I look like them. So he knew that it was because, not just because of his skill, but also that the way he looked related to this new audience that never would have listened to hip hop before.
Right.
And he's right, as much as, and I think he hates that too. Mm-hmm. He hates that because it keeps him from being respected in hip hop, and all Eminem wants is to be respected in hip hop.
He's respected in hip hop now, though.
He is to an extent, but never the extent that he wants to be. He constantly talks about how hip hop leaves him off their list because the true like hip hop heads, they won't put him in the same boat because he's this white boy that brought this pop audience into hip hop.
Right.
And they fucking hate that.
So you're saying they have more respect for Redman?
I don't know. Well, yeah, Redman, yeah.
Probably Redman. Yeah.
But yeah, and then he even talks about, I think it's in that same song where he talks about, but Shady's cute, Shady's new, Shady's cute, Shady new, Shady's dimples would help make ladies swoon, baby. Ooh, baby, look at myself. And he talks about how if he was black, he would have sold half because he wouldn't have hit that audience that never would have listened to rap.
Right.
And it's like this double-edged sword because, or not double-edged sword, but it's like this, it's his blessing and his curse.
Right.
Because he got this whole new massive audience because of it, because he kind of bridged the gap in these demographics. But he also doesn't get respected because he's toted around as this pop icon instead of a hip hop icon.
Well, he should give himself some credit, I think, because Eminem was I'm sorry, because Will Smith was a rapper, but he sucked ass at it, I think.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think Will Smith has
I think
become
his shit
a much better actor.
Like, I'm a fan of him as an actor.
But I like the Welcome to Miami.
Right. But whereas with William Shatner, I'm a fan of both the man and the artist.
Yeah, yeah.
Obviously, the musical artist as well.
True.
His version of Rocket Man, I think, is superior than the Elton John version.
What?
And we're playing it right now. I'm kidding.
Okay.
No, it's great, but it's great.
I disagree, but okay.
Well,
I not disagree that it's great, but I disagree that
I think it's better.
than
I
Elton
actually
John.
think it's better.
Speaking of Elton John is one of Eminem's good friends and mentors, but we'll get to that. So in that verse, he's actually talking about how come his albums are much more controversial than other rap albums, even though he raps about the same things. He says the same words. How come his are more censored than other ones? And it's because white people didn't really care about rap when their kids weren't being affected by it. But then all of a sudden, Eminem pops up and white suburbia explodes. And now these kids who never would have even touched hip hop are all of a sudden being influenced by that. And now it's a problem. So he was like, surely hip hop was never a problem in Harlem, only in Boston, after it bothered the fathers of daughters starting to blossom. So that's when they started getting really mad.
Yeah.
Okay. So the point is.
It's like when rock and roll was coming up, too. It's the same kind of shit.
Exactly. Yeah. But he definitely, at this point in my life, became my new celebrity crush.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Jim Carrey. Your old news.
That's for sure.
Yeah. All of my celebrity crushes before Eminem were comedians. I like funny guys. But what did you know I like funny guys?
I heard that.
But what I liked about Eminem was
my saving grace, man.
Yeah.
Fuck. Continue.
And your cute face. And your bad boy.
Controversial. That's
your
controversial.
Bad boy image. America's greatest
that's
troll.
Less controversial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I liked about Eminem, though, is that his punchlines were really funny to me while he was rapping fast. So it was like he was good at two things.
Yeah.
It's like he could rap.
I always thought he was great at that, man. Great at that. I mean, what I like about him, just to talk about what I like about real quick, I like that he always has something to say. It's like when you watch a movie and you are hearing somebody, it's kind of just, there's no meaning in it.
Yeah.
And you walk away feeling empty because you didn't get like a message out of it. I feel like all his stuff was always social commentary in a great way. In the same way that I love George Carlin, because George Carlin was always ripping on our culture and our society and like
making fun of it,
making fun of it, trying to make it better by making fun of it.
And the biggest thing that I think that you relate to is people misunderstanding it and like taking it literal.
Yes.
When he's like totally doing satire.
He is, yeah.
He's doing satire. He's doing parody.
That's
and
my favorite type
people
of comedy
fall
too.
into his trap every single time. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of my favorite, I think he's funny and clever in some of his lines. One of my favorite lines is when he has this one song where he goes, "Get off my dick. Dick's too short of a word for my dick. Get off my anti-disestablishmentarianism, you prick."
Yeah, it's good. It's good alliteration. It's good.
It's clever. All right. So I really fell in love with him on the next album, though. Are you into this topic yet?
Yeah, man. I mean, does he have a rounder, fucking cuter face?
It gets it gets better.
Okay.
I'm 12 at this point.
Okay.
I'm 12.
I know. I'm just hanging out with a 12-year-old girl right now, and I'm a little annoyed.
No, I'm talking about this point in my life.
No, I know, but that's what I feel.
I will get to when I get to my point.
I want to get to deeper meaning.
All right. Well, there's a journey involved. Right. Okay. So I really fell in love with him on the next album. when they did a behind the scenes making of the music video for Real Slim Shady, because MTV did a behind the scenes like making of the music video. And
I remember. I changed the channel.
He's really funny in that.
Yeah.
And that's when I got to know him as a person.
That's cool.
You know, and I got to know that his personality is like goofy. It's not just like a hard rapper guy. He's like
I remember
goofy.
I did the same thing for Christina Aguilera. And I just stuck around for that because I thought she was cute. And,
oh, you did? Oh my God. I'm hanging out with a fanboy right now. Gross.
No, I'm just saying that's why I turned into the program. I hated her music.
Yeah.
And then I remember her driving to a McDonald's and ordering like literally everything on the menu. And I was like, Jesus, this chick is awesome.
That's what made you fall in love with her?
Oh, for sure. I was like, she's just like me. I would do that if I had the money.
Yeah.
I was like 16 or something.
Okay,
15.
Eminem talks about how he wants to be rich enough to have a Taco Bell in his backyard.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if it really happened or not. There was a rumor that he actually did it.
He could do it.
But I think that's
He could be a franchisee
so
for under $400K, folks.
Because he liked Taco Bell so much, and that's like the only fast food that I like even.
Same.
So I was like, wow, soulmates.
I always wanted a Taco Bell in my backyard.
Yeah.
My mom's constant refrain was always, when we have $1 million, and she told me that one day that I could get a Taco Bell in our backyard, which I thought was cool.
For what?
Well, my mom always had a dream of winning the lottery.
Oh, winning lottery.
Yeah. And then I requested a Taco Bell in my
Backyard.
I think it was in our home.
Yeah.
And she agreed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought that was
well,
cool.
yeah, I would agree to anything my kids said, like, because the premise is that I won the lottery.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, you could have a Taco Bell in your house.
Looking back, I think it's one of those things where she's driving and annoyed, and she's just saying yes to everything that I'm saying.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do that.
So I don't know how much that holds up as an agreement. Yeah. Nate remembers.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
So she has a witness. That's too bad.
That's
if she ever
pretty tight.
wins the lottery,
Yeah.
she has to hold up to that.
True.
But anyway, I'm jumping ahead because after about a year after the Slim Shady LP, he drops the next album, the Marshall Mathers LP, which I became obsessed with, and so did the world, for better or for worse. In this one rap, he raps about his mom suing him. She didn't like that. So
she sued him again.
Wait, sorry. In this one, he raps about his mom suing him because she didn't like that in the first album, Slim Shady LP. He says, my mom does more dope than I do. She thinks that wrecks her image, and so she sues him for $10 million. They settle for $25,000, but their relationship.
Whoa, that is
it's a huge
hell
jump.
of a settlement.
But also she sacrifices their relationship because of it.
Right.
So she gets $25,000, but because she sued for $10 million, like their relationship sucks. And he even says in one of his songs that she could have just asked him for money,
right?
And he would have loaned it to her or given it to her,
right?
But because she didn't even ask, she just sued him.
Right.
He was like we're done, right? So he raps about that in the Marshall Mathers LP. He raps about basically the repercussions that happened from the Slim Shady LP. Mm-hmm. Because in Slim Shady LP, he was just rapping about life and him being broke and stuff. And then it exploded, and then all these people come out of the woodwork, and everyone's trying to get a piece of him.
Right.
So he raps about that. Also on the Marshall Mathers LP, he does the song Kim, which is a prequel to Bonnie and Clyde, which was on the Slim Shady LP, which is about Eminem and baby Haley throwing Kim's body into the ocean. So this track is about how he killed her and how her body ended up getting dragged into the ocean.
And this is what started your interest in I really like this guy.
Right.
Yeah.
So then he also on the Marshall Mathers LP, it was more of an angry album. So he raps about how frustrated he is with fans and with radio stations making him out to be a pop sensation because of his white fan base and popularity on MTV. He did not like getting lumped in with NSYNC and Backstreet Boys and Britney.
But he was in.
I know, and he hated that. And so that's why he was constantly writing songs about them, writing about killing or raping or whatever, all this stuff. And that started more controversy, he would rape women. It's and then he just doubled down on that.
Right.
Because instead of being I'm not a rapist and all this stuff, he doubled down because he gets every time the media goes into a frenzy about it, right? Okay, so back to me in my middle school world. Marshall Mathers LP drops in March of 2000. I'm in 8th grade, about to be in 9th. I have basically no friends. I get super sick one week of 8th grade and had to stay home. While I was home, I found an Eminem message board, forums, discussing Eminem.
If I'm writing the biopic of Nikki Limo, this is the first 15 minutes.
The first chapter.
This is where the whole movie, I think, really starts.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so there were people who were just as passionate as me about Eminem on this message board. So at school, everyone told me just like to shut up and stop talking about Eminem. But here, they were like, "Don't shut up, please. Let's go into lengthy discussions about him until all hours of the night." So there was even a voice chat room connected to this thing where you could hear. Yeah, this was like very technologically advanced at the time because this was like this was the year 2000. There was like, you were still doing dial-up. You're still like connecting to the internet. You're
still paying for pornography.
Your landline.
Yeah.
I didn't watch pornography, but I'm sure you.
Well, you're paying out the ass. I'll tell you that.
You were definitely paying through your phone bill. Like I got in huge amounts of trouble because at one point our phone bill was like $400 because I was on the internet so much. Yeah, but
you say your dad was strict, dude. I would be literally dead.
No, I was pretty much dead. We didn't talk for a year.
Okay.
So there was no social media either. No Facebook, no MySpace. There was only message boards and AIM. So that's like what I did. That was what I did for 11 hours a day. Wow. Yeah. But this is when I first got into that. So I became obsessed with this Eminem board. I started at a new school because high school started, and all of my friends from junior high, well, I didn't really have very many, but
that's for sure.
But all of the ones I did know went to this other high school, and I went alone to the high school on the other side of town. So it was a brand new school. I didn't know anybody. So the message board became my only social place, and I felt like those people were my friends. So I became a moderator on that message board because I was on there so much and people knew that I was on there so much. So the moderators made me a moderator. And I would spend my lunches in the library using the school computers, moderating the Eminem message board.
Like banning people and shit?
Yeah, banning ICP fans. If you're a juggalo, you're fucking out.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Why would ICP fans come to you guys?
What are you talking about? They had the biggest rivalry back then.
Oh, so they come to troll? They're like, hey, fuck you guys. And you guys are like, nah, you're banned.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, because Eminem and the ICP people, they had huge beef, and they made back and forth diss tracks to each other.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyone that Eminem had beef with,
that was everybody.
We had beef with. Yeah. So if you're a Britney fan on there and you're like Britney rules, Eminem drools, you're fucking gone.
I see.
Get out of here.
So you're just out at your lunch break cleaning up the board.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I'm also like correcting people if they're getting facts wrong about Eminem.
Are you like, this is off topic?
Uh-huh.
Do you ever tell people something's off topic or that it's in the wrong place?
Well, yes.
Oh, I fucking hated you people.
We had to, because there was a general message forum, and then there was a specific Eminem message forum.
Can I just say that?
So if you talk about your fucking lunch in the Eminem forum, that's a general topic. You got to switch it to the general.
I think that you mods have ruined the internet.
Well?
I really do.
Go to fucking MySpace then.
People
I don't care.
Like, this isn't in the right place. You should be talking about this somewhere else. I'm like, fuck you. It's a question.
In the rest of the world, we don't fit in. You come to our world though, you play by our rules. You gotta talk about fucking Limp Bizkit. Get out.
What if my topic is Limp Bizkit sucks dick?
You could put that in the general forum.
Oh, okay, cool.
You can't put it in the Eminem forum.
I see.
Yeah, and there was I can't remember all of the forums that we had, but there was general, because each moderator had their own. Like I moderated, I think, the general forum, and we had a cipher, which where people would rap battle each other in the forum. And we would set up the times, like, okay, Monday, noon, this person and this person are going to rap battle, and they had to post their verses in that like set amount of time, and then everyone would vote on them, because then it would close, we would close it, and then we would open it for votes, and they couldn't post their verses anymore. Oh my God. Okay, so this was from age 14 to 16.
Wow.
Yeah.
Some formative years.
Yeah. I mean, this is what happens when you don't have real friends in real life.
That's for sure.
Yeah. So I was in the library. People don't guess this about me. That's why
I know that.
That's why they don't make the connection in their head, because they're like, what could you possibly relate to about Eminem?
Yeah.
How about that neither of us had any friends, and we both felt isolated.
Yeah.
And we were both like super nerdy and just got obsessed with things.
Right.
Anyway, so every song, every lyric, every interview, magazine article we discussed on this message board in depth, analyzing every detail. And at that time, I could have done a dissertation on Eminem. His first 3 albums were basically my life. That's true. After the first 3 albums, he takes a really long break. Well, he does 8 Mile, and then he takes a really long break. And I had to basically start my adulthood without him. Mm-hmm. But he remained a strong series regular and a huge influence throughout my entire life.
Speaking of taking a break, I think that's our
that's a good segue.
little note. Thank you.
Okay.
That it's our time to take a break. Everyone out there, go get some water, get some hydration. It's not over yet. Nikki's still got a lot of Eminem to talk about.
A lot of Eminem.
Including how Eminem personally impacted her life.
Yes.
And changed her life forever to the point where now, if she saw him in person, she would cry.
Yes.
I've seen it. We'll be right back.
Hey, are you listening to Shit They Don't Tell You? Because if not, how are you listening to this ad about Shit They Don't Tell You?
It's because they can't turn it off. They don't know how to turn it off.
Well, that's pretty convenient for us.
They're throwing their phone on the ground right now.
Once you can figure it out, could you please rate us and subscribe and tell us that we're beautiful?
Listen,
we want it.
We need the validation. But mostly we need the ratings because that's basically how the world is run. That's how
we continue to make more and more and more of this content, this glorious content that you love so much.
If you like the show, support the show. And if you don't like the show, support the show.
And it's for free. The stars are for free.
Yeah, you give them away for free. It's not like if you give 5 stars, you pay more money. No. That would have been brilliant, but CastBox is not that smart. So
that's a different platform. Anyway, I hope you're listening to this on CastBox, and if not, you should get CastBox because it's great.
They should have charged for every single star. I would have made so much money. And it just made a killing. And we're back to the Eminem show.
Oh.
Also the title of one of his albums. I know this only because I have been with Nikki for 6 years. Exactly.
Favorite, hands down.
Yeah.
I almost wanted to do, at one point I was going to write a one-woman show called Em and Me and make it into
oh my God. This goes deeper and deeper.
Yeah, but a podcast episode is just as good, I guess.
What I don't like about this and what I love about this at the same time is that if I pitched you, say 10 hours from now, I was like, Nikki, you should do an Eminem puppet show, you would actually think about it for a couple minutes. And then before realizing that I was kidding.
True. Yeah. Well, I never actually did a puppet show. So between the two of us.
Oh, I've done several.
Who's the butt of the joke?
Several.
Okay. So back to where I was, which is I think what you wanted to know most is how he influenced me nowadays Nikki personally. In my adulthood.
Well, not even just now, but back then. Because so far it's just little girl with a crush.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So they say as an artist, your fans should grow with you or you're stagnating, basically. And I feel like I'm a true fan that grew with him.
Right.
I have my criticisms here and there, and I have pretty kind of strong criticisms.
Yeah.
But every time he puts out a new album, every time he has put out a new album, and every time it's spoke to that period in my life. Weirdly, there were parallels every single time, and that helped me get through that particular period of my life in a way that I am so thankful for, and that's the part that makes me cry when I think about him and how much he's influenced me.
That makes sense.
Okay, so his albums resonated with me throughout my life, except for maybe Encore, but I'll forgive him for that one. He was on a lot of drugs. But when I was a lonely kid with no friends who got picked on, which I was talking about earlier, I got picked on because I was pigeon-toed. Not because I was a white boy in a black neighborhood or whatever,
sure.
But I was pigeon-toed severely where I walked really funny.
Yeah.
And the popular girl in school thought that I looked stupid and she didn't like that. And so she basically told everybody in the school that if anyone was friends with me, that they weren't invited to her parties. And she threw the best, bombest parties because her parents were getting divorced and they wanted to prove their love through money.
That's so nice. That's nice.
So nobody would be my friend. Even the ones that started to be my friend, they would hear that they weren't going to be invited and then they would just stop talking to me.
Wow.
And so it was just very isolated and lonely throughout my entire childhood.
Great.
Okay.
Thanks for the context.
So when I was a lonely kid with no friends who got picked on, him rapping about also being a lonely kid who got picked on really resonated. There was a song on the Eminem show that describes my teenage connection with him the best. I think it was in Sing for the Moment, where he goes, "That's why we sing for these kids who don't have a thing except for a dream and a fucking rap magazine, who post pinned pictures on their walls all day long, idolize their favorite rappers and know all these songs, or for anyone who's ever been through shit in their lives, so they sit and they cry at night, wishing they died till they throw on a rap record and they sit and they vibe. We're nothing to you, but we're the fucking shit in their eyes. That's why we freeze the moment, try to squeeze it and hold it." Anyway, that person is who I was as a kid, as a teenager kid. I felt like I had nothing and no one, so I would just post pictures of like my favorite rapper, who was Eminem. He was literally all over my wall before the music video Stan came out, by the way, which I thought they did a terrible job showcasing a Stan, because he kept posting the same picture all over his wall. If you watch that music video, he's posting the same exact picture, which I think the art department was very lazy with, because they posted the same picture at different sizes all over his room. A fan would not have the same fucking picture.
That's true.
It would be different pictures. I had every article, every magazine cover he was on was posted in my room. Okay. So yeah, Stan was probably also about me.
They really got Stan wrong. Is what it sounds like. Jesus.
So that song
actually, it would be different pictures, and that's it. Like the obsession, all the other shit, like all the letters and shit. That's all true. But the pictures, I got it.
Yeah, that's
nice.
Pretty accurate. I mean, I would never. I think he overreacted. Stan like went and killed his girlfriend and stuff because he didn't get a letter back. I never went so far as to write Eminem a letter because I was too scared of the rejection.
That's funny.
I was too scared of him not writing me back, which I knew was inevitable, and I would be too crushed.
Yeah, if I ever saw Bill Murray, I wouldn't even say shit because I'd be so scared that he would crush me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like the rejection would hurt more than not knowing.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. But yeah, then also I had all this like pent up rage and just like, teenage angst and all that stuff, and no outlet for it. And I felt like when I was rapping his lyrics, or like he has a lot of passion and rage in his songs, and when I would rap along with them, like it was like an outlet for all of that rage. And I felt like, I don't know if it's like you feel like they're talking about you, like they're like, he's rapping about the same things that I was feeling. Yeah. So that's where he really started speaking to me, where I was like, God, thank God I have this at least. Mm-hmm. And so when he's talking about like these kids who don't have a thing except for a dream and a fucking rap magazine, and how like all they do at the end of the day is they put on their favorite record and they just sit and make vibes. That is exactly what I would do. I would go home from school, had no friends, would put on his album and just like listen to it. Right. And that's it. So that was that period of my life. And then in adulthood, it resonated all over again. Like pretty much all of the Slim Shady LP is about him being broke as fuck and being tired about being broke, and Kim and him fighting because of it. And then he did drugs. And Rock Bottom was my favorite song during that period of my time. And If I Had was also about this, also about wishing he had money and how he felt like he worked around the clock with nothing to show for it. So in Rock Bottom, he's like, that's rock bottom when this life makes you mad enough to kill. That's rock bottom when you want something bad enough to steal. That's rock bottom when you feel like you've had it up to here because you mad enough to scream, but you sad enough to tear. And then he talks about how he's hoping things look up, but there ain't no job openings. I feel discouraged, hungry, and malnourished, living in this house with no furnace, unfurnished. That's how I felt. I got laid off from my job. I was so fucking broke. The one thing that I had going was acting. I was obsessed with acting, probably as much as he was obsessed with rapping. And I would.
How old were you for this?
This was like when I was 21, 22.
Yeah, okay.
Probably through 21 through 23, I would say.
Yeah.
I was just like working constantly, and when I wasn't working, I was in acting classes or doing private coaching, but I had nothing to show for it. I was like very living paycheck to paycheck. And then the waitressing job I had, they got bought by another company, so they laid us all off. Yeah. And then I was really broke. Like when we first started dating, I had 89 cents on my bank account.
That was fun.
Yeah, and it was just like when you're talking about being hungry and malnourished, like you feel all of that pain. Like when you're in that situation and you're listening to this song, you feel it. Like you're like, this is exactly how I feel. Yeah. Maybe not the exact same situation where he like was in a really bad neighborhood and his house kept getting broken into and stuff. Maybe not that same exact situation, but the same feeling of like, I can't get ahead. Like every time I make a penny, I have to spend it on something. Mm-hmm. Every time I make a penny, I have to spend 2 pennies on something. Yeah. And I never can like get out of this hole, and I can't eat, and I'm just so fucking broke, but I'm working so hard, and then I'm not going anywhere, and you think it's just going to last forever. Like I really just thought this is my life forever. Like this is how it is. And that song like just really, really like made me feel like I wasn't alone, you know? Okay, I'm getting a little emotional from that. So then also in my 20s, I related a lot to his relationship songs, like Crazy in Love in my first serious relationship, and like why I kept getting brought back to the same guy even though we would just fight. This in the song Talking to Myself, that came at a time when I was getting sued and going through a breakup at the same time, another breakup. I felt isolated from my friends. I was insanely depressed. I had some flirts with suicide, but in the song, it was like, it goes, is anybody out there? It feels like I'm talking to myself. No one seems to know my struggle and everything I've come from. Can anybody hear me? Yeah, I guess I'll keep talking to myself. And he talks about how he feels like he's crazy and like he just like nobody understands him. And then he makes that song for people that feel that way, that to say like you're not alone.
Right.
And it just like that just really resonated with me at that time. And I felt like he was singing to me. Right. And that's how a lot of fangirls think when they're teenagers and they're hearing like boy bop bands sing about love songs and like, yo girl,
how much I love you.
Yeah. They think,
I don't care what your name is, how you look. I don't care at all.
Care.
But
You're
I
just
only
a
date
cute
hot
girl.
models.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, he's singing about me, or like, you know, they like fantasize about the person singing about them. Well, I did that as an adult to a guy talking about how broke as fuck he is and how if you feel the same way, like I'm singing to you.
Sure.
Like that's, so I really didn't become a fangirl until that point in my life.
You didn't realize you were.
I didn't realize I was.
Yeah.
Well, because like I had the teenage fandom, like where you're on the message boards and you're like, I'm a bigger fan, you know?
Yeah, you were a fangirl.
Right, but not the screaming emotional, that kind of fangirl. I went to an Eminem concert when I was 15. I did not scream. I did not cry.
Yeah.
I was not like that.
Yeah.
I went to an Eminem concert when I was 27 that you took me to, and I was crying and screaming the entire time.
Yeah, it was great.
But the difference was because that point I felt so connected to him because all of his songs had resonated in my adult life.
Are you talking about New York?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not in my, they didn't resonate this hard in my teenage life because I didn't really relate to anything. I related to the anger. That's all I related to, not the actual subject matter that was being talked about.
That makes sense.
And I think that's why, like, listening to some of those songs now, I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I would listen to this now. But like some of the lyrics they're like really intense, you know?
Oh yeah.
But as a kid, I didn't really connect with the lyrics. It was more about the passion and that rage.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like I'm more of a fangirl now because of these moments where he really was singing to me in a time where I needed to feel like there was someone that understood me. Mm-hmm. Those are the times that I'm like, oh shit, this guy like really
I love that. That
me.
makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what art is for, I feel like. That's why I wanted to be an actor, so I could play characters that other people could relate to and make them not feel alone. And that's why I think I inevitably became a vlogger and a YouTuber, because now I'm just talking as a person and making people not feel alone.
Yeah.
And even this podcast, I feel like some of the stuff that we talk about, that I'm like, I just wish that someone would have talked about that when I needed that.
Yeah.
Like, I hope that some of the subjects, there's someone out there that just needed to hear it that day. And
I sort of diverge from you with that. I want to make people feel more alone. Yeah.
Well, you do. You make me feel very alone.
Thank you.
So that's the other thing. I think that Eminem is like the vlogger of rappers. I've said this before, but he raps about his life in such detail that I've never heard really from anyone else.
Yeah.
Any other music artist.
That's my critique, and I'm very uninformed on hip hop, man. But a lot of the hip hop, dude, I'm just like, dude, I don't know what the fuck. It's all kind of
it's like bitches and money and bitches and money.
Yeah.
Even when he has people do guest collabs on his albums, like a
talk
lot of
about
them are
bitches
bitches and money. Yeah, and it's just like, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And Eminem is not talking about bitches and money. He's talking about bitches as in his ex-wife
Yeah.
and money as in how he has none. And I like that.
Yeah, or
It's
he has a
relatable.
bunch of money and he's still not happy.
Yeah.
And then he's very self-aware in that too, where he's like, "Oh, poor Marshall, you have so much money." And
Yeah.
like
no, he always rips himself apart better than anybody else
He
does.
does, and that's
Like
something.
that shitty, what's his name? Machine Gun Kelly.
Machine Gun Kelly.
He sucked at that.
I know.
His Eminem diss track was garbage. I was
I'm
like, dude,
Eminem has torn himself apart way better,
1,000 times
than
better.
Machine Gun Kelly.
Right.
did.
It was just sad to me.
Like, if you want an Eminem diss track, just go listen to Eminem.
Exactly. No,
Listen to some
seriously.
Eminem songs.
That's what I think Machine Gun Kelly missed. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, this guy does not think he's the shit, dude. This is the opposite.
If anything, he's constantly talking about like how it's hard, like, he doesn't expect anyone to feel sorry for him. He just thought it would be different. He thought fame and money would be different because when you're broke and you're nobody, like, you think fame and money is going to fix everything. But now he has just different problems. It's like he can't go anywhere in public. One song,
he can't go to Target.
Yeah, he talks about how he wishes with all his heart he could just go to Target. Like he's like, I don't even want to buy nothing. I just want to walk around and browse inside it.
See, and that's why he's so relatable, because all I want to do is walk around a Target.
Yeah,
I fucking love it.
I fucking love Target.
I fucking love walking around Target.
See, so you relate to Eminem too.
I sure do.
He resonates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish he talked about also buying an Icy Way there as a little treat.
Well, he doesn't have time.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't even get to do it.
I see.
Yeah. So he raps about his life in detail, and he always has. So as a fan, you're keeping up with this person's life. So after 20 years, it's like 20 years of this person's life. You feel like he's a friend, which is why I think a lot of people relate to vloggers that way, and they start to feel like they're your friend because these people are sharing intimate details of their life, and you're watching them alone in your room, so you're feeling like it's a friend talking to you. Well, I'm listening to Eminem alone in my room.
Right.
So I feel like it's a familiar voice updating me on his life. And it's just the weirdest thing, and I've never experienced it with any other artist ever. But I cried when I heard Headlights, a song.
Great song.
But yeah, that was, I think I vlogged about this.
It's about his mom, about his relationship with his mom and forgiving his mom.
Yeah, forgiving his mom. After in Cleaning Out Your Closet, he said his mom was dead to him. We won't even be at your funeral. Like, she was gone from his life.
Highly recommend listening to that after this. Very good
listen
song.
to Cleaning Out My Closet and then listen to the song Headlights, which was 10 years later.
Yeah.
It's really sad, but really relatable, because I mean, people, you have some family in your life that maybe you don't get along with, and then later you're like, oh shit, I wish we would have just trudged through it. I wish we would have just agreed to disagree and like stayed close. But he regrets that. He regrets like not allowing his mom into his life, and like as a fan you're hearing this after knowing the history, and it's really emotionally moving. But anyway, the song Guts Over Fear, which
Great
came out
song.
in 2015. I like how each one of these songs is
I'm
very
hype
exciting.
manning
I
you.
like
Hey,
it.
dude,
I love that.
I actually like these songs, yeah.
Good, thank you. Guts Over Fear was actually, it's my current favorite song. It was for the soundtrack on the movie The Equalizer, starring Denzel
Fucking
Washington.
classic film. A classic film. I fucking love that movie, dude.
I'm really surprised people don't know this song as much because it was, I think, on this. It was on Shady 15 album, which was supposed to be a compilation album of like a bunch of old songs, but it ended up having a lot of original tracks on it. So I think people slept on it.
Yeah.
And it was also like Guts Over Fear was a soundtrack song. So I think people just, every time I talk about it, like people don't even know what song I'm talking about. And it's my favorite song. You should listen to it.
And
if you're out
Denzel's my
there.
favorite actor.
Yeah. So
And
that's where our worlds collide.
They sure do.
You talk about Flight so goddamn much.
Oh my God, I fucking love him. So real quick, just to bounce off what you're saying.
Yeah.
What I think you love about Eminem is that he always tries, even when he makes something that you don't like.
Yeah.
Like Encore.
Yeah.
Like, you know that he tried his ass off
No,
on
I don't
it.
think he tried his ass off on Encore.
Well, he was trying his ass off while under the
While
influence.
on drugs?
Yeah.
Maybe. Here's what I hated as a fan when Encore came out is that we had waited years for this album. I think like 3 years. Maybe more than that.
Yeah.
But we waited like 3 years for this album. And then it came out and it was like this was at his peak of fame and like his peak of his career. And it was so anticipated. And then when it came out, it was like he knew that people were going to buy it anyway. Mm-hmm. He was not trying as hard in his raps. They weren't even clever. He did this weird accent that like was just annoying. It was like some weird.
I remember. It was bad.
Yeah. What was that? Triumph the puppet dog?
Yeah.
He was kind of being that voice.
Okay.
It was just weird. And like there were a lot of really good beats on that album. And I feel like he wasted them.
Okay. Other than Encore,
Okay.
I feel like Eminem always puts his best foot forward.
Which he has apologized for, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. And he kicks his own ass about his own stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel like Denzel does not make bad movies.
Yeah.
I think that man, whatever his quality control process is, I heard I don't know anything about it. I know more about Tom Cruise's, but he has the best quality control where I'm like, I trust you with my money.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
when I go to see a Denzel movie, this is going to be the dopest movie.
Yeah.
And it always is.
Yeah.
I just love the way that he picks his projects, and not just to talk about his acting, the way that he has formulated his success.
Would you say that Denzel takes risks?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that Roman J. Israel movie was a risk for him. Yeah, but when you're as big as him, I don't even think they come off as risks to the rest of us.
Totally.
Because we're just like, he's so good, it doesn't matter.
Right.
But I really do feel like he definitely does that.
Yeah. So I think he takes a lot of risks, and sometimes his fans don't like it because they're artistic changes that are different from the style he used to do, and a lot of older fans will be like, I miss old Eminem because that was a different style. But I think that no matter what, he always continues to improve based on his own standards. And his own standards are really fucking high. So, with that, I feel like he is constantly striving to be better. It may not be better in the ears of like some of his older fans, but it's better lyrically and better in the direction that he wants to go and the way that he's experimenting. And I feel like all great artists that I think are great, part of the reason that makes them great is that they're willing to take these risks, even if it means losing fans.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. But Guts Over Fear, it replaced Till I Collapse as my favorite Eminem song, although I think Till I Collapse has a killer beat that cannot be topped. But Guts Over Fear really spoke to me at that point in my life, 2015, which is like pretty recent. I felt like a failure, and I felt like I had been trying my ass off for years and still running in circles, and I just felt like my career wasn't taking off in the way I wanted it to, and I was also getting compared to more accused of copying, which is worse. I was getting accused of copying other YouTubers, which honestly is the worst thing that you could accuse me of as a creative person. Even though I started at the same exact time as these other YouTubers, they had a way bigger following, so of course I'm the copycat. But I was just so mad, and I wanted to quit so many times. And in Guts Over Fear, he talks about the early stages of his career, and he goes, I had to change my style. They said I'm way too soft. I sound like AZ and Nas. Out came the claws, and the fang's been out ever since then. But up until the instant that I've been against it, it was ingrained in me that I wouldn't amount to a shit stain. I thought, no wonder I had to unlearn everything my brain was taught. Do I really belong in this game? I pondered. I just want to play my part. Should I make waves or not? So back and forth in my brain, the tug of war wages on. And it talks about him like going back and forth between whether or not he should quit because he's getting compared to these other rappers. People are saying, you're just a copy of AZ and Nas. Your style is too soft. It's never going to go anywhere. You're not going to make it at all because, like, you suck, and also you're white and, whatever reasons they came up with. His teachers were like, you suck at school, so you're not going to become anything.
I just think it's so funny to tell somebody they suck. I just think it's the most third grade insult that still makes me laugh as an adult man.
Yeah.
I fucking love it.
And
it's
so
there's a great video of Limp Bizkit, or not Limp Bizkit, Smash Mouth, that me and my buddy Mike were watching, where Smash Mouth is doing a concert, and of course they're doing the fucking song, right? They're doing that somebody once told me, and this guy's like, you guys fucking suck. And the cat starts going, hey, big guy, like, why don't you come the fuck up here? He like stops the song and he's like, why don't you come the fuck up here and say that shit? Like, I will fuck you up, man. Like, come on up here, dude. I will fucking roll with you. I will fucking kick your ass. He's getting so pissed just because a grown man said he sucks. I just think that shit is so fucking funny. Oh, you gotta look that one up. It's great. Yeah,
it's a pretty great song. Did you see that one video of someone just editing that song to just say somebody the entire time?
That's really funny.
It's just like somebody.
That's great.
Somebody.
It might as well be.
Somebody.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Oh my God. I could ask like a team of Princeton scientists to break down those lyrics and tell me what the fuck it's about, and they would give up.
Yeah.
What is that song about?
Well, it's somebody once told me the world was gonna roll me.
I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed, but I said, yeah, what a concept. I could really use a tool myself. I'm like, what the fuck is this song about?
That's true.
What is this song?
I don't know.
I have no idea. All right.
Yeah.
But Shrek was a great movie, you know?
Sure it was. But yeah, so in this song, he's talking about how he had to unlearn everything his brain was taught. He wondered if he even belonged in this game. Like, should I even be doing this? Is this even the career for me? I thought that so many times.
Sure.
And it just helped to hear somebody that I viewed as so successful talk about how they struggled with the exact same issue. And I think that that's what it's always been about with him, is that he always every time I felt I'm so alone in this, he like made me feel like, no, you're not alone. Like I went through the same thing.
Yeah.
And look at me. But even him now, he doesn't view himself as like where he wants to be. He's constantly like, I don't think he'll ever be good enough for himself. I think he has that internal struggle of always feeling like he's not good enough and that he doesn't belong. He even talks about that in this song. He says like, this is for every kid who all they ever did was dreamt of wanted, just getting accepted. I represent him or her, anyone similar. You are the reason that I made this song. And he talks about how like he was never accepted. Yeah. He still is never accepted. Yeah. Or he still feels that way. I think that he's very much accepted in a lot of hip hop realms, but he doesn't feel that way.
I wish that he would rap about, this is for every kid who paid $50 to park at my fucking concert in cash. Because what the shit was that about, dude?
Oh my God. Yeah, we went to
Unrelatable,
we went
bro.
to the Monster Tour at the Rose Bowl. That's more the Rose Bowl's fault, but
well,
yeah, I feel
I blame the artist.
Well, then you should blame Rihanna too.
I do.
Okay. So that's exactly how I felt, except, Eminem went on to go platinum many times over, win 13 Grammys and an Oscar, and discover 50 Cent by the time he was my current age. But you know what? I'm okay.
Yeah, you're gonna be okay.
I'm okay with it. But yeah,
he still feels like a failure.
Yeah, he does.
How dare he?
When he goes in the song, he's like, everything you're scared to say, don't be afraid to say no more. From this day forward, just let them a-holes talk. Take it with a grain of salt and eat their fucking faces off. The legend of Angry Blonde lives on through you when I'm gone. And I think it does live on. I think he wanted to pass along a legacy of like, hey, just don't give a fuck. He gives a lot of fucks, actually. Clearly. But he wants to be like, don't give a fuck if it's something authentic to you. Don't be afraid to talk if it's truly something that you believe in.
Sure.
And that's something that I still think I haven't completely nailed, but I'm constantly being helped with through his songs. Mm-hmm. I think that he does have a really inspiring way of being like, because he's so raw and vulnerable in his songs, but he's also like, fuck you, I'm the greatest motherfucker to live. He's like, I'm super good at what I do. And then he's all cocky in one song. And then the next song, he's like, man, I'm falling off. I'm never going to be what I was.
He's an emotionally available narcissist.
Yes. Yeah. Well, he's a perfectionist that's painfully aware of his imperfections.
Yeah.
And I think that's so relatable. And I think that makes him so much more of a person and a human being. Rather than just someone talking about money and bitches and stuff, or like how you can do it all the time, like you can do it, just believe in yourself, like, and never sharing like how they don't believe in themselves at all.
That's sort of what Prince did, and he's one of my favorites ever, as you know. And Prince just didn't talk about like not Prince things.
Yeah.
He would not wear heels. He wouldn't not wear the feather boas and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Even when he's at home and like he has random people over, apparently he would keep the Prince image up.
Right.
And then he would go into his facility that he had built, that huge facility in Minnesota, and he would record songs. He would have documentaries filmed, all this kind of shit, and he would never release them. Like he would do them for him almost as a way to cathartically deal with his own fame. Very interesting.
That is really interesting.
But he wouldn't give you any insight.
He wouldn't give it to you.
No, not really.
Yeah. No, that's something that I really like about Eminem.
Yeah.
Is he gives you all of his vulnerabilities.
Right.
All of them. He gives his enemies all of the fuel they need to crush him, except for he's so good at crushing himself that they can't even use it.
But some Prince fans do this funny thing where they try to break down his songs. Like they'll take the song Little Red Corvette and they're like, it's like, little red Corvette, baby, you're much too fast. And they're like, he's talking about how life's going by way too fast. And like, he's talking about himself right here. And I'm like, listen, I think he's just talking about a red Corvette. It's okay. Or maybe the song's about eating pussy, like all songs. Mm-hmm. But I don't know where the like, hey, I am vulnerable, I am getting my ass kicked by life is in any of that stuff. No. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so currently I relate to developing and embracing your own authenticity, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I feel like I've struggled with sharing that other side because I've struggled with wanting to be liked, and Eminem doesn't care if people like him. He'll just say what, and you have a lot of this, where like if you believe something to be true, you'll be able to say it and not care if people stop liking you because of it. And Eminem is
in fact, I can't wait.
Yeah. And so same with him. He can't wait to piss the world off with his beliefs. if he really believes it, or if he's doing satire and they're getting pissed off even though he doesn't actually believe that.
That's
like,
me.
That's hilarious.
I love it.
And it's so you. I've struggled with that because I wanted to be liked, and I feel like people like me, but then they'll never love all of me. Like if they really knew all of the parts, then they wouldn't really like me. Like they'll like this side of me, like the comedy or whatever, or like whatever you like about me. But then if they knew about all of me, then they would stop. And that stunted me for a long time. And I feel like just within the past year or two is when I really started opening up more about like my like more emotional side.
Yeah.
Because people, and I think it stems from the past where like friends have stopped being friends with me because they call me intense or they think I'm too emotional. And I feel very misunderstood because I have intense emotions, but it's never like, it never lasts. Like it's just like a bolt. Like I'll be like, oh, I'm mad. And then I'm like, okay, I'm fine.
I know.
Right? And you get that.
Yeah.
But a lot of people just get scared at the initial like, ugh. And they're like, oh shit, she's like an angry person.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, they don't want to be friends or they can't handle that. Like, I think at least in my career, I think that's why I got into comedy, was because I had all this darkness, but I also had this self-awareness light part that even when I was writing in my journal about the dark shit, I would make jokes about my own self. And that's where the stand-up came in, was I could take anything that I felt like so sad or mad about and I could make fun of it and like turn it into lightness and laughter. And that was like cathartic for me. Okay, so I love when I'm drawing parallels, I love that he's able to be goofy because he's super goofy guy, but then he's also like a really emotionally intense guy. And he's able to balance both and showcase them both so openly in a way that I felt like I could never do. So I really admired that. And I think he's open with the fact that he tries to act unaffected and like he doesn't give a fuck, because he actually gives a lot of fucks. And there's a line in Haley's song where he's like, people make jokes because they don't understand me. They just don't see my real side. I act like shit don't faze me. Inside it drives me crazy. So he like puts on this front, oh, my insecurities could eat me alive.
Right.
But really, like he's just like super insecure. And I relate to that super hard. And I love that he's just so authentically him. He says like, what I'll never be is perfect, I'll ever be is honest. And I think that people that strive for perfection, I think what they really want is to just be authentic. Because things that are perfect aren't really interesting. They're very cookie cutter. And like, if you think of a perfect cookie or a perfect shape, it's like not interesting.
But I want to eat it.
Sure. And then you go.
So you're saying I want an imperfect cookie?
Well, like not a cookie is not.
Cookie's a poor example. Don't use cookie.
It's not a good
the perfect
analogy.
cookie is.
Okay, let's say you met a girl who did everything by the book and was like, I'm nice and I.
Oh, she's boring. I've had her. Yeah. No.
And my hair is always exactly perfect. And no, it's like those things. Yeah.
On paper, it's great, man.
On paper, it's great.
It's just so uninteresting.
But it's so boring.
Yeah, I need more
I've
of a
dated
shit
guys
show.
like that too, where it was like, wait, on paper, this is what I want, but this is so boring.
Yeah, I can't handle people who just constantly agree with you and just I'm like fucking over it already. You know what I mean?
Because the flaws and the imperfections, those are like what make you like interesting, and those are what to me makes some standards higher. Like what raises the bar in like his work and in an artist's work is just the raw like authenticity, flaws in everything. Like even the parts that you're like, ooh, that's a unlikable characteristic of you, but the fact that he owns it is like, yeah, I know, but I hate it too, but I'm trying to get over it.
Yeah,
I just love that. Like he raps about how he's always like, oh, I hate bitches, whatever. People are like, oh, he's a misogynist. No, he raps about his own relationships and how he hates them because he hates that he's so clingy and that they have power over him. That's what he hates. It's not about the girl. It's about that he is too clingy in relationships and he eventually drives the girl away from him, which makes him hate her.
Right.
And he's aware of that, like completely aware of it. But the way he expresses that is by being like, you fucking bitch, I love you, you know?
Right.
And people are like, oh, he called her a bitch. He must hate women. And it's like, no, like, listen go deeper. It's not literal.
Right.
I hate when people take things so literal. Like when people take art so literal. Like in the early 2000s, the LGBT movement was like picketing against him because of some homophobic lyrics in his album, and Elton John even was like, I listened to the whole fucking album. Yeah. There's nothing homophobic in here. He's just rapping about what's happening at this time in life, like in this period of time, people are using these words, like. And he's not calling gay people this word. He's just using this word and like talking about the culture and just reflecting the culture as it is in this modern day, in this day and time, which is what all art is just reflection of culture.
But these days, a word in itself means you're the bad guy of a whole entire litany of people who have used this word.
Right.
So it's just sort of...
and words, whether words are bad or good, constantly changes. Like 20 years later, bad words that weren't bad words 20 years previous.
Dude, 100 years from now, civilization will look at all of us, every one of us, like we were barbarians, because that's just how it is.
Yeah. Well, they'll take down everyone's statues.
Oh, dude, Eminem will not have a statue. It will be taken down because he hates women, he hates gay people, he hates.
I can't wait for in the future, like in like 500 years, no one eats animals, and they're all like they ate
that's
animals
what I'm saying.
As burgers, and oh my god, what kind of person?
They had animals as slave pets.
Crazy, locked up with collars around their necks. And they take down everyone's statues.
Sure.
So they're like animal murderers.
That's why I like to live a life where I'll never get a statue. And I think that's a really important lesson.
I never want a trophy or an award. I never take it away.
Same.
I don't need it. I reject it.
I reject it out of hand.
Yeah. Oh, and I want to say that I am a fan. I'm a fan girl. But I don't agree or stand by everything that Eminem says or does. I don't think he's perfect. I don't think he's like...
You don't have to be you don't have to think that about somebody to be their fan, though. That's the problem with people.
Right. Exactly.
People are flawed, inherently flawed. You can still like people, though.
Yeah. And for all I feel like I'm repeating myself at this point, but yeah, like it's the flaws that I like about him. It's what makes him human. It makes me like, even when he fucks up, I'm like, oh, but he owns it so much that I'm just like, it's hard not to like him still. And that's it. And then there's just one quote in Legacy.
Is this going to be your final thought?
Maybe so.
Okay. Well, this is your final thought.
Do you have any further questions?
No, I think you covered it, because I was just going to ask about all the women-hating bullshit stuff that the media likes to say, but I think
and the other thing I like about that, though, is that he'll double down on it.
Yes, I love that.
And the media actually thinks, or whoever's covering it actually thinks, like, oh, look, he's even more misogynistic. And he's literally saying in the song, I'll say this line and watch them go crazy.
Yeah.
And then he'll say a misogynistic or a homophobic line, and then the media will go crazy. And then in the other song, he's basically talking about how in that song he's going to make them go crazy, and then they do. And
nothing has given me insight into how the media works more than being a so-called insider or expert at something and watching them report on that subject.
Yeah.
Having no fucking idea what they're talking about with all the certainty in the world behind their words. Mm-hmm. Like watching them talk about Maker Studios and like the digital space and like while it was growing and coming out of nowhere. They always got all that shit wrong, always misreported shit, always said people made more money than they did or less money than they did or whatever. Like they didn't understand it at all, but they would report on it with all that certainty. Same shit as Eminem, same shit as almost all things, I think.
Yeah.
Non-experts talking like they're experts about something they have no idea about.
Fucking love it.
They did maybe 5 minutes of research on it and they're like, oh, I know about this shit.
I know everything. Yeah. Or like, oh, I know this type.
Exactly.
They think they're so good at profiling people.
Yeah, so Eminem says this about women, so therefore he's in the club with these guys. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Well, as a kid, I was just made fun of for being pigeon-toed, but also for being weird. Like, I just have a weird personality. Like, I get into right now I have a pet grasshopper, and you make fun of me all the time for that, and I just get into weird things where I just think they're interesting, and so I go down that path, and I don't take everything super seriously. I just think it's fun and it's weird, and I just like it. But I was made fun of a lot for being weird, and I even had a guy break up with me because he said I was just too weird. Like I was just weird and not girly enough. Like he expected women and girls to act a certain way, and I was just like fucking weird.
Can I just say on the weird front, I agree with him.
Sure.
Yeah.
I agree too. But before I'd be like, no, I'm not weird. I could be normal. And I would look up all the things. That's probably how I got to what I am today, is from trying so hard to be normal. Like reading so many magazines. Like I learned it, like how to learn how to build a robot. I'm like, oh, okay, so you got to put an arm here and then this wire attaches here. And it's basic shit like how to put on makeup, how to wear heels, how to assemble an outfit, like things like that. We didn't have YouTube back then, so I had to read them from magazines. But yeah, after that guy broke up with me and listed every single weird thing that he thought was weird about me, I tried desperately hard to fix those things. I really tried to act more girly. I tried to like look up in magazines what the current hottest, bestest perfume was and the best makeup, and I tried to do all those things. And I kept some of those things.
Sure.
You know, like the things that worked for me, I was like, I wouldn't have never experimented with that had I not been broken up with in that way. And I kept some of those things, but like I feel like I had to really learn how to blend in and be normal, because my natural instinct is very weird, quote unquote weird. Okay, so there's this quote in Legacy that's on the Marshall Mathers LP2 where he goes, I used to be the type of kid that would always think the sky is falling. Why am I so differently wired? Am I a Martian? What kind of twisted experiment am I involved in? Because I don't belong in this world. That's the first time he does the chorus. And then the last time he goes, I used to be the type of kid that would always think the sky is falling. Now I think the fact that I'm differently wired is awesome, because he wouldn't be who he is today if he wasn't differently wired like that. And I love that.
That's how I feel about bullying.
Yeah.
I was bullied, and thank God I was bullied. Who knows who I'd be today if I wasn't bullied?
Right.
I don't think I'd be as introspective.
Wait, that's actually the opposite point, because you're speaking more to how I tried to become normal after that. But this is embracing the weird part.
Right. I'm saying embrace the adversity that you've had, whatever that is.
Well, no, embrace the adversity and take what works for you, but also don't be ashamed of the weird part. So I was really ashamed of the weird part, and I tried to hide it forever. Mm-hmm. But in this lyric that I just quoted was about like not hiding it anymore and like embracing that weird part, because you wouldn't be, the things that make you authentically you and uniquely you are in that weird part. It's not in like what you strive to do to blend in and become normal. It's in that weird part.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I was bullied for my weirdness, and I'm glad that I was, because it made me who I am more today than I would have been had I been left alone to be weird.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally. Two completely separate points, both valid. So what's your final thought, Steve?
My final thought is that I learned way more about Eminem than I think I wanted to.
Yeah.
But I learned more about you, which I liked.
Oh, you learned more?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Only because I like the stages and the way that his albums line up with your life. I like all that a lot.
Yeah. I wish I could play clips from them, but I don't want to get
You don't want Eminem, your personal hero, to sue you.
Yeah, Interscope Records is actually pretty gnarly with their copyright laws. Like you can't even like play. I mean, I'm sure fair use you could play clips, but they're really strict about like how long the clips are and like, you know, what context. They're like really, of all the music companies, labels and stuff, they're like really strict.
Got it.
Yeah, but I wish I could play like little clips from each of these songs, because me singing them,
I think you singing them was good though. We just want to hear the words anyway.
Yeah,
we don't want to hear the backbeats and all that shit. I just want to hear what you're talking about.
But the songs are really powerful.
Well, thank you everybody for listening.
Thanks for listening to me talk about.
If you're still here, you're a huge fucking Eminem fan. Holy shit! Or maybe you're a big Nicki fan.
Maybe you were just like, how could one person be so influenced by this stupid white rapper guy?
Right, and now you know.
Now you know. Subscribe.
And rate us.
Rate us.
It helps a lot. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Why didn't anyone tell me?